good morning. So for today, I'm going to show you a day in my life. And so I'm going to film and show you the places I go and the things that I do in my normal day as an entrepreneur. So the first thing I do is make coffee using my cup with this awesome tag, Queen of Awesomeness. I don't know, it makes me feel good every time I use this cup.
So this is my workplace. Upon waking up, I would be making coffee and then I will be sitting in the most comfortable space ever, which is on the bed. I do have my working space, but it hurts my back whenever I sit there for a long time. So I don't normally sit in my working space. So normally I would be listing my weekly task every Sunday evenings so that each morning, every time I would be sitting down on my working space, I just have to take a look at what I was supposed to do that day. It's so easy to spend a couple of hours at work in the morning because usually I would be very immersed into that task. So I would have to remind myself to stand up and go get some exercise. So, what I normally do first is make some stretching and then a couple of lunges and then some planking, about 3 sets of this.
Ta-da! Well, it's not the most Instagrammable breakfast in the world, or I've always enjoyed making breakfast for me and my brother for the past couple of months. So I've always been a breakfast person, and so I don't think I'll be able to survive without having breakfast. Although for a few weeks now, I've been skipping it sometimes because I've got so much things to do. Okay, the reason why I'm so in love with making breakfast, even if the presentation is not that, not that good, is because it reminds me of the time when I stay in hotels and I wake up and breakfast is pretty much ready when you go to the dining hall. So that's what I love the most about traveling and having breakfast. And also, I've got so many memories when it comes to making breakfast, memorable memories for sure. Because even when I was younger, breakfast being the most important meal of the day, um, it's pretty much well prepared by, if not by my mom, then by our helper, and it's the first meal. So if breakfast is not that good in the morning, then pretty much the rest of the day would be affected. So that's kind of my philosophy when it comes to breakfast. So before we hit the shower, before we put makeup on our faces, that's my usual routine. So I get up in the morning, have my coffee, work for a bit, exercise, and then ta-da, breakfast. So usually we'll have our breakfast here on the dining table, but since it's just me and my brother right now, so the next thing we would do is that I'm going to hit that play button. Usually we watch Netflix, Modern Family. If you watch that series, let me know. We love it, and I think we're nearing towards the end of the series, and I don't think anything comes close when it comes to this kind of family series. So now we're on our way to Shanwan. It's one of my favorite districts here in Hong Kong. So Sheung is one of my favorite districts because this is the place where my old office used to be, and also there are a lot of cafes around. There's always new things happening. So I want to have a checkup. I want to have a look how it's like. Especially now during the pandemic, I haven't really visited Sheung because a lot of cafes and restaurants right now, due to the new restrictions in Hong Kong, actually they're not allowed to serve dine-in dine-in tables after 6 p.m. So time checked, it's almost 3:30, and we're on our way. I've got my brother coming with me, so I'm just glad that he's up to this. Hey, so we've arrived Sheung. It's still hot and sunny.
Going back to this place, it made me reminisce the time that I have spent here. I've actually stayed in this area. I work in this area for about 7 years now. And so it reminds me of the time when every day, waking up and coming into this area, it's usually pretty busy. This is a bustling area where you can also find some quiet spaces.
And so we're here, we've arrived, the halfway coffee. Can finally remove this mask. Ooh, so hot. I actually like the ambience of this place. As I've mentioned, I actually did some research, and they said that one of the interesting things about this cafe, Halfway Coffee, is that it's cups. It's colorful and cups. Hey, look at our avocado. And this is actually their homemade ice cream. And we were instructed that we eat this dry fruit first before pouring the coffee into the ice cream. This is a pear.
Dried apple.
Dried apple. This is dried apple. And it's like dried chips. Pero ano, okay naman. Sweet, little sweet. Now that we're done with that, let's pour our coffee into this homemade baby ice cream. Oops. Okay. Nice. The first time I've tried avocado is actually in Colombo, in Sri Lanka. At that time, I actually didn't know what an avocado is. And it's actually ice cream and coffee combined. I mean, all the goodness there is. If you're ever in dilemma, if to choose between dessert and breakfast, why don't you have both in an avocado?
How How does it taste like?
Mm, okay, so avocado, matitikman mo yung sweetness ng ice cream, and of course its texture, its cold texture combined with the warm of coffee, and of course its bitterness. So that sweetness and bitterness combined. It's bittersweet. I've always loved bittersweet stuff because it's kind of like describe how life is going around right now. It's like bittersweet life. I love it. Definitely worth it because it took us about half an hour from our home, train ride all the way here in Shanghai. Later on, we'll have a chance to also walk around for a bit, show you all the antique shops surrounding this area. So, as I've mentioned in my previous post on Facebook, I've actually quitted several months ago. I quitted the full-time job to pursue my passion hustle. And my experience as an entrepreneur is that, well, it never comes easy. Nothing's easy for me. And I think what I've learned is that you just have to deal with all the fears that comes your way and try to think about what made you do this in the first place. I'm lucky to be surrounded by a lot of entrepreneurs like myself, and every day they inspire me to do something. They inspire me to take steps towards my goals. So I think that's one of the secrets on how I've been surviving for the past several months. And of course, there's the support of my family and my friends, and having able to, because they know me already, they know that I've always been this passion hustler. Last week, I've actually launched the Eight Letters Literary Festival. You know, we've got thousands of views on our Facebook lives, we've got book sales, and it's not about me, it's about pushing the community towards reading and buying more Filipino books, buying more indie published books. In one of the videos, we've informed people what indie means, and basically it means something that's out of the box. It's something you cannot explain. It's something that is more. Okay, it's not really, you know, there's no one phrase to describe what we've been doing, and all the support, all the community and everything, it makes it all worth it. Okay, so you guys, I've actually been I was invited by the Philippine Institute of CPAs, BICPA, Doha, to organize a talk on self-publishing. So I'll be working on that today, as well as these course that we're going to launch on our eight letters website. So because what we wanted to do is to automate it, just put it out there, have the copywriting do its job. Basically, it's automation. Just let students, if they're interested, just go for it, just make the payment, and they'll be able to access all the contents. So indie publishing the right way course is a course that we developed at Eight Letters about 5 years ago. This is where we guide writers in their self-publishing journey. So we actually teach the process of editing your manuscript, to marketing your work, to printing, to bringing your work to the right audience. It usually takes a whole day of talking. But in this course that we're going to launch in our website, you know, it's going to be an automated system. So there will be a workbook included. There will be these modules included, and if you're going to subscribe to the premium course, you can get to have a free coaching. So you get to talk with our mentors, and we'll be able to they'll be able to guide you even more, depending on what kind of genre your book is about. So, for example, you're writing a collection of personal essays. So we're going to pair you with a mentor who's already done that, who's already uh, put their books out to the world. If you're specializing, say for example, in fantasy, we've got writers who have written fantasy, in the fantasy genre as well. Writing is one of my side hustles too. I've got a lot of other things going on, but I'm really proud on how we've developed this indie publishing the right way course, because it took us years. Look at this, it's 2,900 each. Antique coins. Oh, over there, I think there are more interesting stuff over here. Look at these old telephones. Walking around here makes you appreciate Hong Kong and its history and its culture. Life happens. Coffee house. Nakaupo na kami dyan before. Oh, halfway coffee nito.
It's two of them.
Pero mas prefer ko yung isa ko mas quiet.
Yeah. So this is the Hollywood Road where we usually walk around, usually after lunch or during lunch break. This is the place of many antique shops. And as I can see here, it's already closed down. I'm not sure if it's since.
I'm glad that I took the opportunity to go back and check how Changwon is doing. It made me realize, these memories that I have, I should treasure them more because I will not be able to go back to how it used to be. And besides, there are no regrets in pursuing my entrepreneurial journey. The years of my life that I've spent working in Changwon is over. Who knows if I'll be back again? But for now, I'm very much happy to be in this path towards what I've been wanting to pursue for a long, long time now.
Meatballs and melon juice.
Alright, so now we're home. Home sweet home. Medyo nakakapagod kasi hindi ito yung usual route na ginagawa natin. Lalo na for the past several months, madalas nasa bahay lang tayo. And so, medyo nakakapagod pa rin. Maybe it will take some time to get used to. Conclusion, what we found out is that people are still surviving in this new normal. There are still restaurants that are operating in Hong Kong. People are still out. People are still going to, to their offices. Although mas lesser kasi maybe a big percentage of them, they are working from home. Or, as I mentioned earlier, at 6 p.m., restaurants would not allow dine-in customers, pero available pa rin yung takeaways. So, still, they're surviving somehow. Some restaurants, in their current business models, they're not able to survive because yung business model nila or yung restaurants nila, they are meant for group of people celebrating. So yun nga, dahil nga dito sa Hong Kong, hindi na allowed ang 4 people in one table. It's suspended until next week. So we still don't know kung magbabago ba yung restrictions na yun in the weeks to come. What actually we have expected to happen September, like things will start getting back to the normal ways again. Pero aminin na natin, hindi masosolusyonan ng vaccine ang nangyayari ngayon. Like, people would still be scared. There's still this fear of traveling around or going to the office. Minsan, yung mga restrictions ng mga government, ng government, actually, they're not that reasonable. Minsan naman, of course, yung iba, okay naman. Like, I think dito sa Hong Kong, reasonable pa rin naman yung ganong arrangement. Na as long as hindi naman magko-close entirely ang mga restaurants. Until 6 p.m., they're still allowed to serve dine-in customers, pero 6 p.m. onwards, there's an option of takeaway. So, still, if they're able to adapt in this kind of business model, they'll be able to survive. So, pagdating naman sa tourism industry, as I have checked, actually some of the countries, like in EU, they have their own travel bubble. So, countries under the European Union, they'll be able to travel in and out of these countries. May mga special exemptions. So, for example, Russia now is open to UK, people from the UK, and vice versa. Turkey is open too to countries like China, like Russia, without the need for quarantine. Kailangan mo lang mag-submit ng negative COVID test, negative result in a COVID test. So something like that. So in the months to come, we're seeing a transformation that soon enough travel will be back again, but it's not going to be what it's used to be. Maybe totoo yung sinasabi ng media na
it will be normalized again, or it will get back to its normal state, like how it was last 2019, maybe a year or so later. But it doesn't mean that travel will, will disappear. It doesn't mean that travel will it doesn't mean that there will be no traveling for the coming year or for the coming months. So ang ibig sabihin lang noon ay magkakaroon ng mga new procedures like quarantine, or or getting yourself tested before flying, things like that. um, I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist. So I'm not closing the door that travel will soon be back. I've spoken with my brother about this, and he has the same sentiment. So, you know, I think just be careful with what you read. Um, Sometimes media has its way of blowing things out of proportion. So just be careful. Have have a look, or have a quick check if you think that's really the angle that you should go for. We're given free will. We're given the brain to analyze things. So that's it. I'll end this video. I hope you enjoyed a day in my life. It's 6 p.m. Next thing we'll do is probably, okay, I'll take a shower and I'll start editing this video, get back to working. Because actually, if you're an entrepreneur, you're basically working almost 24 hours if you're not sleeping. Yeah, there's still a lot of things for me to do, and there's still big project that I'm working on. I cannot disclose it yet, but I'm excited. Yeah. So that's it, guys. Remember to check coffeeandfly.com, and also 8lettersbooks.com, as well as Exceptional Wonders, in case you're thinking of traveling in the near future. Bye.